We were raised to stay silent. Man up, tough it out, they told us. But that silence is making us sick, and for many, it's killing us. This is especially true for powerful men who have even more to lose by speaking up. Today, we're diving into why men don't speak up and how it's costing us our lives. Welcome to Real Men, Real Minds. Let's start with numbers that hit hard. In 2022, the CDC reported over 49,000 people died by suicide in the United States. Of those, nearly 39,000 were men, about 79%. That means every 13 minutes, a man in this country feels he can't go on. Men are almost 4 times more likely to die by suicide than women, with a rate of 22.9 per 100,000 compared to 5.9 for women. Some groups face even higher risks. American Indian and Alaskan Native men have the highest suicide rates at 39.5 per 100,000, followed by white men at 28.0 per 100,000. Firearms used in over 54% of suicides make these moments tragically final. But it's not just a static number. Suicide rates have been rising over the past 2 decades. From 2000 to 2018, suicide rates in the US increased by 37%. Although there was a slight dip between 2018 and 2020, rates returned to their peak in 2022. This trend is alarming and shows we're not making enough progress to address this crisis. This isn't just a US issue. In the UK, suicide is the biggest killer of men under 45. Globally, WHO data shows that nearly 40% of countries have 15 suicide deaths per 100,000 men, while only 1.5% show the same rate for women. These aren't just stats. They're fathers, brothers, friends, men who felt trapped with no way out. Why? Because we've been taught to bottle it up, to stay quiet, no matter the cost. Let's talk about our younger generation. Young men face unique challenges that are driving up suicide rates. Although overall suicide rates among youth have decreased slightly, the numbers are still alarming. In 2022, the suicide rate for young men aged 15 to 24 was 13.62 per 100,000, down from 15.15 inches in 2021, but still too high. According to the CDC, suicide is the second leading cause of death for young men aged 10 to 34. For those aged 15 to 24, it's the second leading cause of death, only behind accidents. So, why are young men at such high risk? There are several factors at play. First, there's immense pressure to succeed academically, professionally, and socially. The transition from adolescence to adulthood is filled with uncertainty, and for many young men, this can be overwhelming. Social media also plays a significant role. It's a double-edged sword. On one hand, it connects us, but on the other, it can amplify feelings of inadequacy and isolation. Young men are bombarded with images of success and perfection, which can make their own struggles feel even more isolating. As Dr. John Smith, a prominent psychologist, notes, today's young men are navigating a world very different from that of their fathers. The pressures from social media, economic instability, and changing gender roles can create a perfect storm for mental health issues. Additionally, young men are less likely to seek help. The stigma around mental health is particularly strong in this demographic. They may fear being judged or seen as weak, so they suffer in silence. From childhood, we're fed one message: man up. Don't cry, don't show weakness, handle it alone. But for powerful men, this pressure is amplified. A C-suite executive might fear that admitting to mental health struggles could tank his company's stock price or shatter his public image. The need to always project strength and authority can make vulnerability seem like a luxury they can't afford. A study by the APA found 91% of men feel pressure to follow traditional masculine norms, being tough, self-reliant, emotionally restrained. This shows up in the numbers. Only 37% of men with mental health struggles seek help, compared to 51% of women. A Cleveland Clinic survey revealed 65% of men avoid doctors as long as possible, including for mental health. The "I've got this" mindset is isolating us. Research digs deeper. A study in Frontiers in Psychiatry showed that men who internalize these masculine norms like stoicism or independence are far less likely to seek help before hitting a breaking point. Media doesn't help, glorifying the strong, silent type while shaming vulnerability. Think about popular movies and TV shows. How often do we see male characters openly expressing their emotions? It's rare. Instead, we see them bottling up their feelings, sending the message that that's how men should behave. Here's a question. If you break your leg, you see a doctor, right? So why, when our minds are breaking, do so many of us stay silent? The fear of looking weak traps us in a corner where no one can reach us, and that's where things spiral. Keeping emotions locked inside isn't free, it makes us sick. For powerful men, this silence can lead to a profound sense of loneliness. Wealth might attract opportunists, but it doesn't buy genuine connection. The fear of appearing weak or failing as a leader can isolate them further, turning their success into a prison. The APA notes, men often channel pain into anger, substance abuse, or reckless behavior. Men are twice as likely to develop alcoholism than women. Unmanaged stress also fuels heart disease, the top killer of American men. It's not just mental health. Suppressing emotions can wreak havoc on physical health too. Studies link chronic emotional repression to higher risks of heart disease, with a 30% increased risk for men who bottle up their feelings. Let's look at some numbers. A study published in the Journal of the American Heart Association found that men who repress their emotions have a 30% higher risk of developing heart disease compared to those who express their feelings. The NIMH reports 75% of men who died by suicide had untreated mental health conditions. Many didn't even know they were struggling because they never spoke up. Take John, a 35-year-old veteran. He battled PTSD in silence after returning home, thinking real men don't complain. The weight grew until he saw no escape. Stories like John's play out daily, and silence is the enemy we can't ignore. Men, it's time to rewrite the script. Speaking up doesn't make you less, it makes you stronger. As Brené Brown says, vulnerability is not our weakness. It is our most accurate measure of courage. Start small. Talk to a friend, a family member, or a therapist. If you're a leader, consider reaching out to peers who might be facing similar pressures. Groups like Movember are shattering stigma and providing support. Also, examine your coping mechanisms. Respond with compassion by taking time for activities you love, exercising, balancing work and life, and maintaining a healthy diet. Let me tell you about Mike, a 28-year-old who struggled with depression for years. Finally, he sought help from a therapist and joined a men's support group. Today, he's thriving and helping others do the same. His story shows that recovery is possible. The 988 Lifeline says 80% of people calling in crisis feel relief just by talking. One conversation can change everything. If you're struggling, reach out. Call 988, contact the Veterans Crisis Line at 1-800-273-8255, or explore NAMI for support. For tailored assistance, consider Paracelsus Recovery at info@paracelsusrecovery.com.